expert, but I know a couple things, so maybe I can help you out.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we can talk about here.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about what your project is supposed to be.
Well, it's supposed to be the environmental impact project, which is, and we had to make a PowerPoint on how on a certain on something that's impacting the environment. I chose an animal.
And the tree care company that I worked for specialized in removing trees that were killed by the emerald ash borer. So I got very familiar with the emerald ash borer and the problems it was having in Wisconsin. So I know a few things about how bad it is. It can be very bad. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead.
On like textbooks or something, but it's what was it? Okay, so it's in an article it said that emerald green borers when they're like younger, like they'll do more damage. When they're all grown up and if they work together, can they do it faster than when they're actually young as one? Like.
Good question. So the majority of the damage from an emerald ash borer happens when they're larvae, when they're little worms. You know, you've learned, I'm sure in school, about the cycle of insects, right? It starts with an egg, then larval, then pupa, then adult. So adult insects do feed on the leaves of the ash tree, but it's just a little bit, and that doesn't really even hurt the ash tree at all. Even if there's a lot of adults feeding on the leaves of an ash tree, it doesn't really affect it. The thing that actually hurts and then ultimately kills the ash tree is just the feeding of the larvae. Once they're inside the inner bark, they start chomping away at the woodiness inside the bark, the xylem, the plume, and those xylem and phloem, those specific inner bark layers are what transport water and nutrients from the roots to the leaves.
Yeah.
And once the larvae inside the tree have chomped away at enough of the tree, they basically cut off the flow of water and nutrients, and that's what kills the tree. So it's really just the larvae that are causing the actual death of the tree.
And that just answered 3 questions.
Awesome.
Yes, because I just remembered that in the presentation I didn't like I put a lot of information on how it kills a tree, but I never put the water on how it cuts the circulation of water going to the leaves. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Make sure you mention that. Nutrients and water. Cuts off both. Yeah, and you can see if you open up, I'm sure you've seen pictures on the internet of an infected tree. You can see all those little lines. Yeah, those are called galleries, and those are the the evidence of a insect chomping away through that layer of bark.
Wait, how many layers are on the tree?
There's a lot of layers. There's the outer layer. There's a couple more. I'm no tree expert, but I know that there's the outer layer. There's the xylem, the phloem, which can transport water and nutrients. Then there's the inner hard bark layer, and then there's the outer hard bark layer that don't transport nutrients. They're just the old hardened parts of the tree that used to transport nutrients. As the tree gets older, it gets taller, but it also gets wider. That's why when you cut a tree, you can count how old it is by counting the rings.
And, that's good to know. That's really cool.
You can count how old you can see how old the tree is by counting the rings when you look at a slab of it. And so all those rings were once the part of the tree that was the outside of the tree. And the outside of the tree is what transports nutrients up and down. The inside of the tree really doesn't do that. So the most important part of a tree to its health is that delicate, just underneath the outer bark layer. So that you have the outer bark, which is like a suit of armor, and then the inner bark, which is the part that transports nutrients, and then everything else on the inside is just hardened old parts of the tree that just are there for support.
Kind of like a pineapple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit like that.
Yeah. What was it? Wait. So when you said about the rings, how how do you know how many like years or like for each ring? Like, is it you said kind of like one ring is 1 year, 2 rings is?
Each ring is 1 year. Yeah.
Oh.
And sometimes the rings are super close to each other, like boom, 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 and that means it growed very slowly. If the rings are separated far apart from each other, that means from this point to this point, that was only 1 year. So it grew very quickly in 1 year. If it's a tiny bit of space between 2 rings, it was a very slow growth. It didn't even grow much at all during 1 year's time. But it's always 1 year between rings.
Is
Okay,
there
go back to the emerald.
yeah is there a specific tree that emerald ash borers mostly attack? Like
Its preferred trees are green and black ash.
yeah.
But after the green and the black ash are dead, then it'll go to the white ash and any other ash trees that are in the area.
Wait, is that a white ash one about to go like extinct or something? Cause I've read like about something like that.
Yeah, they probably all are in danger at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't know which one's in the most danger.
Yeah, I think it was 13 species of ash trees.
There's a lot. Yeah. There was what was the statistic I just was looking at? Let's see. Oh yeah, it's already in the United States killed about tens of millions of ash trees, and there's 8.7 billion ash trees in North America in total, and it threatens to kill almost all of those 8.7 billion ash trees in North America if we don't stop.
And how do the ash trees do the ash trees help the environment?
Yeah, ash trees are very important to the environment. They provide habitats for many animals that live in them. They provide food for many animals that feed off of their leaves. And all the insects that are native to North America, they don't kill ash trees in large numbers because animals and plants that have lived closely together with each other for thousands and thousands of years have adapted strategies to make sure that one can't completely destroy the other.
Yeah.
That's why all the ash trees in the native range where the emerald ash borer is from are still alive. It's not like they killed off all the ash trees in the place where they're from, which is, northern China and Japan, and that they didn't just kill all those ash trees and then just move on to another place. No, they still live over there, and they still live in tandem with those native trees to Asia, and they don't kill each other because they've adapted ways to protect them. The trees have adapted ways to protect themselves. They create more tannins in their bark, more chemicals to kill some of the insects, and the insects in turn don't kill as many ash trees because some of them die, some of them live. But when you put a invasive species in a place that's new, the trees, plants, or whatever it is have no idea how to protect themselves from this new introduced species. And that's what happened to our ash trees. Our ash trees have no history of dealing with the emerald ash borer, and so they were completely at the mercy of the emerald ash borer, and they have no chemical defenses or anything that can protect themselves. And of course, there are no insects here that eat the emerald ash borer, or any other animal that eats the emerald ash borer, but there is over in Asia.
That's good to know. How many species of emerald ash green borders are there?
There's only the one.
There's only one. Okay. Yeah.
It's just one species,
Mhm.
and you can look up what its scientific name is. It's Agralis planipennis, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, just one species.
So it's just so that's the only one called Agralis pennis what is there?
Yeah.
Okay, because like every
So
time I
the-
searched that up, it would go with like relatives or something, and then that would get really complicated.
Yeah, and there are, I am sure, there are other related insects that are now invasive here too, because there are so many different types of insects that are invasive in the United States. Lots of them came over here accidentally, or sometimes were even intentionally introduced. But the one species that is causing the most damage is the emerald ash borer, Agralis planipennis.
And what's like the maximum like length they can grow to, or like how big they can grow to?
Oh, how big do they get? Let's see here. Offhand, I don't know, but I can find out in 1 second. They get to be about, oh, 0.3 inches long and about 0.06. Okay, so if you have a ruler with a meter stick, that's about 8.5 millimeters long and 1.6 millimeters wide. So,
They're so small.
pretty small.
Wait, how fast are they then?
They're quite small. I don't think they move particularly fast. It's not about an invasive species does not become invasive just because of how fast it moves or how big it is. The biggest reasons why an invasive species like this one becomes so bad are for 3 reasons. One, they have no natural predators. There are no natural predators here that know already how to eat these guys. 2, they reproduce very quickly. 3, they grow quickly. So invasive species usually hit all 3 of these things. They reproduce quickly, they make many more of the same animal, they grow quickly, and they get to the age where they can reproduce very quickly, and they usually have no natural predators, no natural constraints to keep them in check, keep their populations low. And if they happen to be very big, or like a Burmese python also happens to be huge and get massive, well, that helps it a lot because no animals can eat it when it's big anyway. So
Yeah,
that even helps it more.
that's really good. Wait, so it says that in the larvae. It's my last question.
Okay.
In the larvae stage, it goes through like the bark and everything. When it's an adult, does it go through the bark too, or does it just like? Because I saw like it had like wings.
Yeah. So what happens? The life cycle of the emerald ash borer is the mother, once it's pregnant, will find an emerald ash tree, bore through the tree into the bark, and lay its eggs in the bark.
Oh.
Then the eggs hatch inside the bark, and then they start feeding their way through the bark all around. That's what causes the galleries. That's what kills the tree, because the larvae need to consume lots of food in order to make the energy to transform into adult. All insect larvae need to consume lots of food because they need tons of energy to make that transformation, that metamorphosis. Caterpillars do that to become butterflies, and the larvae of a emerald ash borer do that to become the adult beetle that they are. So they'll maybe spend 1 to even 2 years circling around the tree, eating it, and then eventually, once they do finally have enough energy, they'll turn into a pupa, and then the metamorphosis happens, and then in late spring, they will drill their way out of the tree as adults. So the adults are drilling their way out, and then that's the last time they spend any time inside of the tree. The rest of the time, they're outside of the tree as adults.
Oh, and then when they're out of the tree, they like eat the bark from outside.
Then they eat the leaves.
And the leaves.
Once they're adults, they eat the leaves and they look for a mate. And they reproduce, and it starts all over again.
I would have not found any of that in the internet, like that. They would go in the tree, and then and then all of that. So that's really good to hear.
That's in a nutshell how it works.
Yep. Well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's.
Any other questions or?
What? No, it's a lot of information, so
okay,
be good.
I'm happy to answer any more, but if you're good to go, then cool.
Yep. Thank you very.